In the previous video, we looked at the top 5 mini PCs under $500 and you can get some real performance there on the upper end. But now we're looking at the beasties above $500. So strap yourselves in, it's going to be a wild ride. Right after today's sponsor. Meet the MSI QB-NUC AI1 UMG, the ultimate business and office mini PC that redefines desktop computing. At just 0.51 liters, it virtually disappears on your desk, and it packs serious productivity power. The Core Ultra processor handles multitasking, video calls, and demanding applications with ease. Multiple display support means seamless workflows, and it pairs perfectly with an MSI Pro monitor. Whether you're working from home or the office, the QB-NUC AI is your compact and powerful companion, and quiet operation ensures you stay focused, not distracted. Transform how you work. Find out more with a link in the video description. The AceMagic F5A really impressed when put through the testing regime. It features the powerful AMD Ryzen AI9 HX370 CPU, one that has secured AMD's dominance in the mobile CPU market with no response from Intel. 12 cores, 24 threads, and Radeon 890M graphics. A proper generational boost over the 8-core variants that dominated for years. I was hoping it would show up on Amazon since the review went up, but it's still only available from AceMagic's website. The F5A comes in at $819 for the 32GB RAM, 1TB SSD pre-build after the coupon. Included is a not-so-compact 120W power brick, HDMI cable, and VESA mount. Port selection is excellent. Dual USB-A 10GB and fully featured USB 4 supporting power and display on the front. There's Oculink on the side, MediaTek Wi-Fi 7, another USB 4, dual Intel 2.5GB LAN, HDMI 2.1, DisplayPort 2.1, USB 10GB, and USB 2. That should please everyone, unlike these top mini PC lists. Opening it is annoying. Glued rubber feet cover the screws. Inside the review unit was a 1TB BioWin Gen 4 SSD and 32GB of Kimtigo DDR5 5600 SODIMM RAM cooled by a decent fan. Both 2280 M.2 slots are Gen 4 X4, and upgradable SODIMM slots are a huge plus for enthusiasts over soldered LPDDR5X. Single-core Cinebench matches other HX370 minis, which is top-notch. But multi-core is the worst performer out of the box, around 3.5% behind in balance mode, and just under 3% in performance. Not huge, but worth noting. In Geekbench single-core, it's a win, while multi-core lags slightly. Graphics performance is where this one shines. The F5A is the fastest HX370 mini with SODIMM memory tested. Only beaten by the Beelink SO9's fast upgradable soldered LPDDR5X by 9% in Firestrike, almost 10% in TimeSpy, and 7% in Steel Nomad Lite. For many, that will be an acceptable trade-off for replaceable memory. Gaming at 1440p medium shows double-digit percentage gains over the H.255 or 8745HS in most titles. Oculink vastly outperforms USB 4 for eGPU thanks to extra bandwidth. Bluetooth range is slightly below average, but acceptable. Wi-Fi at 12 meters or 39 feet from the router had zero issues on the 5G band, and maximum CPU temp is very low. While idle fan noise is higher than most minis, load fan noise is very impressive at 36 dBA in balance mode. That's close to the Beelink SO9, which has the lowest result. Performance mode isn't bad either, but I don't think it's worth the extra noise. The AceMagic F5A has a nice feature set, good cooling, low fan noise, replaceable SODIMM memory, excellent port selection including dual USB 4 and Oculink, and it's priced well in the current market. Shame about the chunky power supply, but there's always a downside somewhere. Imagine Apple's old Mac Mini design. Now mix in AMD's top HX370 CPU and a bunch of extra features. That's basically the Minis Forum AI X1 Pro. Familiar on the outside, surprisingly different on the inside. And yeah, it looks very close to a Mac Mini, just taller, heavier, and made mostly of plastic. This one again features AMD's Ryzen AI9 HX370 CPU, so it's got plenty of performance to go with it. Price has dropped down to $899 for the 32GB RAM, 1TB model. What's different with the AI X1 Pro is that it has a built-in power supply, so those that don't like external power bricks will be pretty happy. You also get a vertical stand, HDMI cable, spare thermal pads, and a monitor mount. The stand is actually really solid and won't scratch the case. On the front of it, you'll find two 10GB USB Type-A ports, USB 4, audio jack, and a Windows Copilot button. Up top is a fingerprint sensor. There's an SD card reader on the right, and Wi-Fi 7 plus Bluetooth inside it. On the back, USB 2, USB 4 that can power the Mini, HDMI, DisplayPort, dual 2.5GB LAN, Oculink, plus built-in mic and speakers. Opening the AI X Pro is not fun. There's a hidden screw and annoying plastic clips. Once inside though, you'll find 3 M.2 slots, 2 Gen 4 X4 and 1 Gen 4 X1, which is a first for this CPU class. Performance is where things get interesting. In Cinebench and Geekbench, the AI X1 Pro performs very well, but since it uses replaceable DDR5 SODIMMs instead of faster soldered LPDDR5X, the integrated GPU takes a noticeable hit. Of course, you can bypass all that with an Oculink eGPU, which works great. The AI X1 Pro stays cool without thermal throttling. Fan noise is on the low side, close to the Beelink SO 9. Bluetooth and Wi-Fi performance are excellent. The Mini's Forum AI X1 Pro has nice performance, great cooling, no wireless issues, Oculink, Wi-Fi 7, 3 M.2 slots, and upgradable RAM. Overall, it's a pretty cool mini PC which launched at a higher price point, but now is much more reasonable. Another great option is the Beelink SO 9. It features the same AMD Ryzen AI9 HX370, 12 cores, 24 threads with Radeon 890M graphics. Watch out though, there are SO 9s with other CPUs out there. The Ryzen HX370 one is the highest processor spec with the most performance, and that's the one we're looking at. At $899 for 32GB of RAM and 1TB SSD, it's dropped a full $100 since we looked at it at launch. The sleek metal case is very nice and includes a quad array microphone and stereo speakers. Ports include USB-A 10GB on the front, USB-C data only, 3 USB-A on the back, USB 4 supporting power and display, HDMI 2.1, and DisplayPort up to 4K 120Hz. We also have Realtek 2.5GB LAN, and disappointingly, only Wi-Fi 6. Opening it is annoying. Glued rubber feet cover the screws. Inside are 2 M.2 Gen 4 NVMe slots and soldered LPDDR5X 7500 RAM. Great for speed, but not for upgradability. Wi-Fi issues from the SIR 8 were fixed with this one, and overall it's a pretty nice package that performs really well. The lack of an Oculink port will be a deal breaker for some, but for those that don't need it, it's a fine premium mini PC. CPU temps are great, and fan noise remains class leading. Beelink SO 9 is definitely worth considering. The Adaman G7 PT is a small form factor gaming PC with impressive CPU and GPU performance. Inside is the AMD Ryzen 9 7945HX, 16 cores, 32 threads, focused on serious performance. The primary GPU is the Radeon RX 7600M XT with 8GB of VRAM. The G7 PT is only designed to stand vertically with no horizontal support. The 1TB storage, 32GB RAM model comes in at $1,069. There's single color RGB lighting, and the logo designs aren't too pretty, but at least you can turn them off by yanking out the LED cables inside. Port selection is a weak point. USB-C 10GB with display out, USB-A 10GB, DisplayPort 2.0, HDMI 2.1, 3 USB 3 10GB, Intel 2.5GB LAN, and audio jacks. No USB 4 or Oculink. However, it does include a MediaTek Wi-Fi 7. And while Wi-Fi worked fine at the usual range of 12 meters or 39 feet using the 5G band, Bluetooth was unimpressive at 3.2 meters. Opening the G7 PT is mostly straightforward. Lift the magnetic cover, unscrew 2 screws, then pry open the LED array. Inside you'll find one 2280 Gen 4 NVMe slot and one Gen 5, along with DDR5 SODIMM slots. The Ryzen 7945HX has excellent single and multi-core performance. Switching the power limit in the BIOS gives it a further push. GPU-wise, the 7600M XT held up surprisingly well, even beating the RTX 4070M in Firestrike DX11. However, it did fall behind in DX12, which is more important for new game releases. Gaming at 1080p and 1440p shows the G7 PT doing great in esports. In AAA titles, results are close to the Asus ROG NUC 970 at 1440p. Forza Horizon 5 and Ghost of Tsushima are slightly ahead, but the RTX 4070M pulls ahead in newer games as expected. CPU temp hit 94C under load and even during Valorant, though GPU temps are solid. Fan noise with gaming mini PCs usually isn't great, and in this case, idle is the worst of all gaming minis tested, while performance mode makes it the loudest gaming mini PC so far. Default mode under load is decent, but that idle noise is ever present. The Ataman G7 PT doesn't have a huge amount of competition around this price point, and is a gaming mini PC worth considering. Intel's pricey flagship 285H processor can't compete on performance with AMD's HX370, so the only way to stand out is with a crazy design chock full of features. And that about sums up the Beelink GTI 15 Ultra. The sleek metal case holds a fingerprint sensor, microphone, speakers, inbuilt power supply, dual 10 gigabit LAN, and the quietest fan noise of any mini PC tested, and even includes a full PCIe Gen 5 X8 slot, equivalent to Gen 4 X16. It pairs together with Beelink's EX Pro Dock for desktop graphics cards, and easily outperforms any USB 4 or Oculink interface. The 1TB SSD, 64GB RAM model costs $1,200 US, and the EX Pro Dock adds another $129. If you plan to use the dock, you'll also need to add a GPU, which is even more dollars. Right, so it's a pricey, premium, niche product that a tech enthusiast can appreciate, even if it's not practical for the masses. And that's why I love it. Opening the GTI 15 Ultra is annoying and time consuming. Glued rubber feet, then plenty of screws. 4 for the lid, dust plate screws, speaker screws, power supply screws, and a standoff requiring a special tool. Inside are dual 2280 M.2 Gen 4 NVMe slots and the PCIe Gen 5 X8 slot, though thankfully you don't need to open the mini PC to access it. Performance is impressive. While single-core Cinebench trails the Asus NUC 15 by almost 3%, multi-core with performance mode is the fastest mini PC in Geekbench. Intel Arc does well for esports, but struggles with AAA games. You'll need upscaling for most titles at 1080p low. Intel CPUs excel at emulation with excellent results, and Xbox 360 emulation now works fine. For serious gaming, skip USB 4 eGPUs and use the PCIe slot with the dock for far better performance. Adobe Premiere performance is excellent, with the GTI 15 Ultra taking the top spot. Bluetooth range is great. Wi-Fi has no issues at 12 meters or 39 feet from the router using the 5G band. One thing to note is idle power out of the box is dismal at 41 watts, doing nothing on the desktop. However, enabling C-states in the BIOS drops idle to 24 watts, which is much more reasonable. Temps are pretty good, and fan noise is very impressive. The GTI 15 Ultra is one of the quietest minis on the market with a 65 watt limit. It gets a lot of things right. It's powerful, quiet, and the best option for external GPUs via the PCIe slot. However, $1,200 is pricey, but at least this one stands out. That's the top 5 minis under $1,200. An interesting bunch for a wide variety of usage cases. You can find all of these mini PCs linked in the video description below. Purchasing through those links really helps the channel out at no extra cost to you, and I genuinely appreciate the support. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth mini PC reviews. If you're looking for something lower priced, then do check out my top 5 mini PCs below $500, which you can find right here. Cheers!